Hello, welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston. I'm the national spokesperson for the Route 664 radio station and also socialsocharity.org, the website socialsocharity.org, and the Endow American Network Foundation. Our purpose is to create human kindness through endowment. We use the theory of social sociarity to do that, where 664 equals E squared. E is endowment squared. You can create an endowment for yourself and leave that behind to endow a charity of your choice. That's the power of 664. It's a real power of love for yourself to create income that you can use to live on in the future, create some security for yourself while using favorable tax benefits that the tax code gives you. The Congress was very wise in their infinite wisdom. They gave us 664 many years ago to help us build the charitable wealth in the country and to help you pay less tax. The bargain that they made is if you leave something to charity, when you die, you'll have lower taxes while you're alive. Most people don't even know that exists. My guest today is a tax person who has been in the tax industry for a long time. And I call it a tax industry because doing tax returns is a way of creating revenue for businesses, and has been very successful for a lot of organizations. My guest today is John Hewitt as the Hewitt and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services. How are you, John?
I'm incredible. Thank you.
I know that you've kind of phased out of that, but in this climate today where we have inflation the way it is, with regard our cost of living is going up constantly, and taxes become a much more important aspect of that. Do you miss the tax planning? You miss the tax completing tax forms? Was that your favorite thing to do?
I when I was in college, I loved doing taxes, but since then, I founded two public companies that have a combined 10,000 offices. So the only tax return I do is one on October 15th for myself. So
Okay.
every year I do it on October 15th, but no more tax return for the public since I founded public companies back in the 90s.
So, tell me a little bit about your self. How did you begin how did you get the idea that you wanted to do tax returns to build what you built, and then what you changed?
It was my dad's idea. My dad was a frustrated entrepreneur. I was born when he was a freshman at Michigan State. Before he graduated, he had three other children, and he never got a chance to be able to become self-employed. And by the time I was in college, he decided it'd be a good time to help, that I could help. And so we were living in a suburb of Buffalo, and I was going to the University of Buffalo, and the suburb we had lived in didn't have any H&R Block office. And he got the idea to buy a franchise, and he called them up and said, "We'd like to buy a franchise." And they said, "Well, as a matter of fact, we're going to open a company store in that suburb this tax season. Why don't
Mhm.
you have your son take our tax course? Maybe he could work for us." I
Mhm.
took the tax course in November and December, loved it. And one of my many blessings is before I was 20 years old, I found out what I wanted to do the rest of my life.
That's an amazing thing. Yeah, that you found something you enjoyed and like working at. Yeah. So there's a little difference. It's a tax preparing firm. Is that correct? Rather than a CPA firm?
Yes, I worked at H&R Block for 12 years. Then I founded Jackson Hewitt for 15 years. And then I was 20 years at Liberty Tax Service. All of them are focused on income tax, and they do a little accounting, but 98% of their income comes from income tax preparation.
Do you think that most people even know what the amount of taxes that they pay?
I would say that not 1 in 20 know that.
Mhm. Why is that?
I think people are, if they're not skilled at something, they tend not to pay as much attention. and they almost throw their hands up in dismay at since I don't understand it, here you handle it and take it off my plate.
And just tell me what I'm going to pay.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
most people, 80% of people get a refund. So, but yeah, tell me whether I get a refund or pay, and tell me the amount.
And yet they think the refund is actually something they're getting as a benefit from the government.
Yeah, most people don't understand that most of the refund they comes from a refund of the taxes that they overpaid during the year.
Yeah. And so the process is we collect more than we need and we'll give you a refund if you fill out the form properly and you get a tax preparer that can do it properly, you'll get a refund if you've overpaid. So
That's
we of course want to talk a little bit more about what you have moved into, the other things that you talk about, building empires, um, helping entrepreneurs discover how to become CEOs and building their empires. But I wanted to just go back to the taxes for a second. Our theory is that if people could find a way to reduce their taxes and understood it, they would use it. But we are focusing on a section of the tax code 664 just as a way to mimic what people know as numbers, like a 401k, for example. Everybody knows what that is, but they don't know why. So we want people to look at a number like 664 and to understand that it's a good thing to be able to use it in the future. So in your experience working with CEOs now, working with entrepreneurs, working with business leaders, the tax problem in the country and the deficit problem in the country is real. How do you view the tax element as a part of that? In other words, um, can we tax the population to the extent that we need to in order to solve the government's problems?
that's outside of my realm of expertise. What I like to say is the government makes the rules and the laws, and I just know how to use them to the benefit my customers. But I would say that even though it's outside my expertise, I have an opinion, and my opinion is that government is wasteful. 50% of the money that government raises or spends rather is wasteful. So as long as governments govern in that manner, they can never tax enough to pay for their mistakes.
And so if the government is supporting, this is the thing that I have the hardest time with, government supporting non-governmental organizations. That and taking tax dollars to do that. Because even before they changed the tax law, where the tax deduction for charitable giving at least was of some value to people who are in the lower and lower middle class, or were earners but not super earners. They were people using standard tax deductions today and don't worry about the charitable gift. But when the charitable gift, when the principle of giving to charity was of value, nobody knew about doing it. Nobody would do it except the ultra wealthy. And the idea that government will take tax dollars and then give them to charity rather than advising you to give to charity to solve the same problem just blows my mind. How from you're an experienced person in the business world, and your opinion of something like that is valuable. What do you think the government is doing with that? Why do they do that? Why would they turn around what is given to us and make it into something it's not?
I think that again, government is incredibly wasteful and it's incredibly biased, and it's self-serving. For example, at one time there was a there was a question on a deduction on mortgage interest, and the rule was that you could only deduct interest on mortgages of under $1 million, and where 98% of the population had revenue of under $1 million, it didn't pass because the congressman mostly had revenue of over $100 million. So they tend not to be altruistic. They tend not to be unselfish. They tend to be biased and do things for themselves.
Thank you for that. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that there's too much power is vested in them with regard to the taxation and use of the money the way they want to do it. My guest is John Hewitt, and John was the founder of Jackson Hewitt Tax Services, and then he founded Liberty Tax Service. I think, is that correct?
That's correct.
And with over 6,000 offices, you sold your interest in Liberty for nearly $500 million a while ago. I hope that created a good endowment for you, and hope you did it tax smart. That's a question. Question is, how many people know how to do that? And so, John and your partners and friends are helping entrepreneurs now discover how to become CEOs, building their empires for the King of Kings. He's the author of the fascinating book, I Compete, and the CEO of Loyalty Brands. So tell me a little bit about that transition. You've now gone into this area. Why?
Yeah, my first two ventures were focused on income tax, and they were franchise organizations. And after selling the second brand, Liberty Tax, we decided that I'd like to have a multiple number of brands and be able to help more people. My goal is to change lives, help people, and doing it just in one focus industry was not enough for us. And we saw some opportunity to mentor and help develop chains of other brands. Most important to us and most fun is our pet brand. I love the pet industry. I've learned to love the industry over the last 3 years, and our fastest growing brand is mobile pet grooming called Zoom and Grooming.
Zoom and Groom. Love that. So it's a mobile pet spa or mobile pet services?
Mobile pet grooming. It's just they do nails and ears and groom the dogs. And and 10 to 15% of our animals are cats. We groom cats too.
Wow. I'm surprised they let you do that.
I was going to say that should be fun.
Yeah. Okay. So we interviewed someone who was from the veterinary school. There's a dearth or a desert of vets. Do you provide any vet service, or is it strictly the grooming?
It's everything is just related to grooming.
What do you see in the future? Is that Loyalty Brands? It's a conglomeration of brands. Is that what you're saying?
It is. We have 8 different brands in 8 different industries, and we're looking to grow all of it. We have home inspections, business brokers, the buying and selling businesses versus buying it like a realtor, buying and selling personal homes. We have a roofing company. We have a staffing service. We have a number of different brands that work together and do cross marketing.
And is the reason for that the cross marketing? Is that what you find to be the common
exactly? For example, our biggest grooming franchise has about 6,000 customers. They all need tax returns. And our biggest tax office has about 7,000 customers, and 70% of them own pets. So we opportunity to cross market our services to our databases of each organization.
Well, that's a very interesting concept. That maybe there's something in the future for Endow America to be a franchise where people can go to learn how to to create endowment for the community and themselves, using simple guidance from we have a new term that we're using, which is an endowment engineer. Endowment engineers are people who can help you create an endowment for yourself so that you have adequate income to live on in the future using favorable tax parts of the code, and then leave that endowment to the community.
That actually might be a franchisable concept in the future.
I'd like to talk to you about that. That would be good. That's one way to spread the word, for sure.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
When you bring in capitalism, then it really grows exponentially.
Yes, capitalism. Wonderful term that nobody wants to talk about anymore. Yeah, they don't teach it in schools. Nobody knows about capitalism. The whole concept of capital and how you get it and how you can use it and how you can grow it and all that good stuff is.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There are the four most important things in life they don't teach you. They don't in school anymore. They don't teach you about God. They don't teach you about how to be a great spouse or a relationship. They don't teach you how to raise children, and they don't teach you about taking care of yourselves financially and through a capitalistic rewarding life. So those are the four most important things in life, and they leave you on your own.
So the King of Kings, for the King of Kings, is that a religious reference?
The King of Kings would be God, for sure.
Okay. So what you're saying is that God needs to be in building our empires.
Absolutely. And I've been blessed. I built two of the top 100 largest retail chains in this country, the only person ever to do that. And they had $1.5 billion of value. I've been blessed by God. I just didn't do that on my own.
Yeah, the higher power is extremely important and often taken for granted, but it's there in all of us. We just need to be able to find it and exercise it properly. And I appreciate your being on today, John, and having a discussion with you about this, because human kindness stems from that as well. And what we're dealing with is the love of mankind. Philanthropy is a gemstone of a human, and we need to be able to polish that more and have people become more philanthropic and properly do it to benefit themselves and the community, and also benefits the government in the long run. That's why they did it. They knew what was going to happen in the future, and we're at the future now. They did that 50 years ago in 1969 when they created these sections of the tax code, and they've not told anybody about them. So it's unfortunate, but we're going to correct that, and would love to talk to you further about that idea of expanding this concept. Maybe there is a franchise available of this type of thing. It would make a lot of sense. My guest is John Hewitt. Thank you very much for joining us on Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness, John.
Thank you, Les. Have a wonderful day.
Yep. And we're going to just hear from him a little bit about a radio station that plays the greatest music and gives you good feelings and also gives you a lot of great information. We'll be right back.
Happy song. What song puts you in the best mood? Or if you're in a bad mood, what gets you out of it?
I think I have so many, but when I was in college, I was working at University of Buffalo, and the Beatles came out with a song called The Taxman. And
yes.
So I had a nickname in college. I was the Taxman.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, I used to play that on Funny Money.
I know.
All the time, remember?
I do remember.
Yeah. I'm the Taxman. All right, John. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you guys.
You ever just want to tune out the world and relax? Then you've come to the right place. At Route664.org, we've got great music that will keep you entertained for hours and uplifting conversation that will make you feel good about yourself and the world. So come on in and take a load off. We won't judge here. Route664.org.